Have you ever woken up and felt nothing? Not sadness, not anger, just an empty weight pressing on your chest. You move, you breathe, but deep inside it feels like your soul's running on fumes. That's not weakness. That's exhaustion. The kind of exhaustion that comes from fighting battles no one else can see. But listen closely, this isn't where your story ends, this is where it begins. There are people out there who are tired of existing, not because they're broken, but because they've been strong for too long. They've carried the weight of expectations, disappointments, and silent pain until their heart just shut down. But the truth is, even the strongest hearts need rest, not surrender. When a person feels tired of existing, it often begins with a quiet erosion of meaning. They wake up one day and realize they've been moving through life like a ghost, doing what's expected, saying what's polite, pretending they're fine, but feeling nothing inside. It's not laziness or weakness, it's a deep psychological fatigue that comes from constantly pushing forward while carrying invisible weight. The human mind was never built to run endlessly without purpose. When life becomes a cycle of responsibilities, expectations, and silent disappointments, the heart begins to question the point of it all. This kind of exhaustion isn't just physical, it's existential. It's the body saying, "I'm alive," while the soul whispers, "But why?" At the core of this fatigue lies the loss of meaning. People spend years chasing things that don't feed their inner world: money, validation, status, or approval. They achieve goals, but each one feels emptier than the last. The reward fades fast, replaced by the next expectation. It's a cruel loop, like climbing a mountain only to realize the view doesn't move you anymore. Psychologists call it existential emptiness, but on a human level, it's simpler. Your spirit has lost direction. When you lose the connection between your actions and your purpose, even success feels hollow. That's why some of the most accomplished people still lie awake at night, feeling like they're missing something they can't name. The human brain is wired for meaning. It needs to know why it's fighting, why it's trying, why it's enduring pain. When the why disappears, motivation collapses. That's when people start to say they're tired. Not of life, but of existing without purpose. The danger isn't in the tiredness itself, it's in believing that tiredness is permanent. But the truth is, it's not. This feeling, as heavy as it seems, is often a turning point, a signal from deep within that your life needs to change direction. The exhaustion isn't asking you to give up, it's asking you to stop moving blindly and start seeking clarity. Many people confuse meaning with achievement. They think purpose is something they must earn, but purpose isn't found in doing more. It's found in understanding why you do what you do. Sometimes the greatest act of strength is to stop, to breathe, and to listen to the silence inside you. That silence is where truth lives. It's uncomfortable at first because it strips away the noise and distractions. But when you sit with it long enough, you begin to hear your own voice again, the one you buried under pressure and fear. When you feel tired of existing, what you're really experiencing is the death of the old version of you. The one that survived, endured, and obeyed, but forgot how to live. That's not the end of your story, it's the breaking point before rebirth. Your soul isn't asking you to disappear, it's asking you to transform, to let go of the life that no longer fits the person you're becoming. It's painful, yes, because rebirth always is. You'll lose pieces of yourself, but those pieces weren't meant to stay forever. They were meant to teach you, to prepare you for something deeper. The key is to not run from this feeling. Don't numb it, don't bury it, don't label it as failure. Sit with it. Let it teach you what it needs to. It's there to realign you with your truth. When you accept that your exhaustion is a message, not a flaw, you begin to move differently. You stop trying to survive and start trying to feel alive again. You begin to rebuild meaning in small, quiet ways through connection, curiosity, self-discovery, and honesty. Being tired of existing is not the end of life. It's the beginning of awakening. Because when everything feels meaningless, it forces you to find meaning that's real. And that's where your new strength begins. Many people become tired of existing because they spent their entire lives living for everyone except themselves. From a young age, they're told who to be, what to achieve, how to act, and what will make them successful. They shape their choices around other people's expectations, parents, friends, society, and slowly they begin to drift away from their own truth. They smile when they're breaking, agree when they want to scream, and keep giving even when they're empty. Over time, this performance becomes exhausting. They start to feel invisible in their own lives, like actors trapped in a never-ending play written by someone else. The psychology behind this kind of fatigue runs deep. Human beings have an innate need for authenticity, a desire to live in alignment with who they truly are. When that alignment is broken, the mind and soul go to war. You may look fine on the outside, but inside something is always off. You feel disconnected, restless, and drained, yet you can't explain why. That's because every time you hide your real emotions or silence your voice just to keep peace, you chip away at your own identity. Eventually, you're left with a version of yourself that exists only to please others, not to live freely. And nothing kills the human spirit faster than that kind of quiet self-betrayal. Living for others creates a subtle but powerful psychological trap, the illusion of acceptance. When people approve of you, it feels good, temporarily, but that validation is a sugar high for the soul. It fades fast, leaving you craving more. You become addicted to being liked, needed, or praised. Even when it costs you your peace, you start to mistake people's approval for your worth. And that's when exhaustion takes root. Because no matter how hard you try, you'll never control how others see you. You could give everything, your time, your energy, your love, and still feel unseen. That's not because you're not enough. It's because you're living a life that doesn't belong to you. This cycle breaks only when you decide to stop chasing validation and start honoring truth. That means learning to say no without guilt, walking away from what drains you, and allowing yourself to disappoint others if it means being honest with yourself. That's one of the hardest lessons life teaches us, that peace often comes at the cost of people's approval. But it's a price worth paying, because when you finally let go of who you're supposed to be, you make room for who you really are. The moment you stop performing, your energy begins to return. The fatigue that once felt endless starts to lift, replaced by quiet strength. You begin to breathe differently, move differently, see differently. The world starts to feel less heavy because you're no longer carrying the weight of everyone's expectations. You're free to rediscover what truly matters to you, what kind of life makes your heart feel full, what passions still burn deep inside, and what version of yourself you've been hiding all this time. The truth is, you can't live your best life while being someone else's version of you. You can't find peace if you keep silencing your truth. When you start living for yourself, it's not selfish, it's survival. It's choosing authenticity over approval, meaning over perfection, and truth over comfort. And once you make that shift, the exhaustion begins to fade. You stop existing for others and start living for yourself. You stop waiting for someone else to give you permission to live. That's the moment your life truly begins again. Not when everyone else finally understands you, but when you finally understand yourself. Because freedom doesn't come from being accepted by the world, it comes from finally accepting yourself. There's a certain kind of fatigue that doesn't come from hard work or heartbreak, it comes from repetition. The same routine, the same faces, the same thoughts circling in your head like trapped birds. Every day begins to look like the one before, and life loses its color. It's not sadness. You stop feeling alive. Not because you're broken, but because you've stopped growing. Human beings are not built for stillness. Deep inside us, there's a natural hunger for change, for challenge, for movement. When that hunger is ignored, the soul starts to decay quietly. Even if everything looks fine on the outside. Psychologically, the mind thrives on stimulation and discovery. It finds joy in learning, purpose in striving, and meaning in overcoming. But when every day becomes predictable, when there's nothing new to learn or fight for, the brain's reward system begins to shut down. Dopamine, the chemical that fuels motivation, fades. Life starts to feel flat, even if nothing is wrong. That's why so many people feel tired of existing despite having comfort, stability, and safety. The comfort that once brought peace slowly turns into a cage. It's the silent suffocation of the spirit. The truth is, comfort zones are meant to be temporary. They're places to rest, not to live forever. But most people get stuck there because comfort feels safe. It's familiar, it's easy, and it protects them from failure. Yet what they don't realize is that staying comfortable is its own kind of slow death. When you avoid discomfort, you also avoid growth. You avoid transformation. You avoid the parts of life that make your blood rush and your heart race. And eventually that stillness becomes unbearable. You start to crave anything that reminds you you're still alive. This is why stepping into discomfort is one of the most powerful things you can do when you're tired of existing. Change your environment. Change your routine. Challenge your limits. You don't have to take massive leaps. Sometimes it starts with the smallest act of rebellion against monotony. Take a walk somewhere new, talk to someone unexpected, learn a new skill, or chase a dream that once scared you. The moment you choose movement over stagnation, the fire inside you starts to flicker again. Your brain begins to release energy, creativity, and hope. You start to feel a sense of possibility again, and that feeling is life itself. It's not the world that grows dull, it's our perception that becomes dim when we stop growing. The excitement, the passion, the joy, they all return when we break the cycle and push beyond what's known. Life doesn't reward the comfortable, it rewards the courageous. Every great story, every strong soul, every fulfilled person, you'll find that they all walk through discomfort at some point. They faced fear, uncertainty, and risk, but it was through that journey that they found meaning. So when you feel tired of existing, don't seek to escape life, seek to expand it. Change the rhythm, challenge the norm, do something that forces you to feel again, even if it scares you. Because fear is not your enemy, it's proof that you're on the edge of transformation. The mind awakens in motion, not in stillness. The soul thrives in discovery, not in repetition. And one day when you look back, you'll realize that the moment you broke free from your comfort zone wasn't just the start of a new chapter, it was the moment you came back to life. There are wounds that can't be seen, walls that leave no visible scars. Many people who are tired of existing aren't weak or lost, they're survivors of silent battles. They carry emotional wounds that the world doesn't recognize because they've learned to hide them behind smiles, work, or humor. Trauma, heartbreak, betrayal, grief, these things carve deep marks into the human spirit. And when they go unhealed, they slowly drain the will to live. The body keeps moving, but the mind grows heavy. The heart beats, but it no longer feels alive. You begin to drift through life like a shadow, existing but not really here. Emotional exhaustion builds over time. It doesn't arrive like a storm, it seeps in quietly. One disappointment after another, one heartbreak too many, one betrayal too deep. At first, you tell yourself you'll be fine. You bury it. You distract yourself, you push through. But emotional pain is patient. It waits. And the longer it's ignored, the heavier it becomes. Soon, everything starts to feel like too much. Getting out of bed, talking to people, even breathing. It's not that you don't want to live, it's that you're tired of carrying so much pain alone. Logically, emotional pain activates the same areas of the brain as physical pain. But unlike physical wounds, there's no bandage, no visible mark, and often no comfort from others. People see you smiling and assume you're fine. They tell you to move on, not realizing that some pain doesn't just fade, it transforms you. You start to live differently, you trust less, you hope less, and you begin to protect yourself from everything that once made you feel alive. It's a survival instinct, but over time, that protection becomes a prison. You build walls to keep pain out, but those same walls also keep joy from coming in. Healing, however, begins the moment you stop pretending. The moment you stop saying, "I'm fine," when your soul is screaming for relief. Because truth, raw, unfiltered truth, is the first step to freedom. When you acknowledge your pain, you reclaim power from it. You stop being its victim and start becoming its student. Every wound you carry has a lesson hidden inside it. It might be about strength, about boundaries, about letting go, or about rediscovering your worth. The scars you bear are not symbols of weakness, they're proof that you've survived what was meant to destroy you. It takes immense courage to heal, to look at your own pain instead of running from it, to confront the memories, the losses, the disappointments that haunt you. But healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means forgiving yourself for what you had to do to survive. It means allowing yourself to feel again, even if it hurts. Because numbness might protect you from pain, but it also steals your ability to experience joy, love, and connection. When you decide to face your emotional wounds, you begin to rewrite your story. You start small, by talking, by crying, by expressing what's been buried for too long. And slowly you begin to breathe differently. the weight starts to lift, not all at once, but piece by piece. You begin to see beauty again, in the sunlight, in a song, in the smallest acts of kindness. That's how healing works. It doesn't erase the past, it teaches you how to live despite it. So if you're tired of existing because of the pain you carry, understand this. Your pain doesn't define you, it refines you. The fact that you're still here, still breathing, still trying, means you've already won battles most people never see. You are not broken, you are becoming. The cracks in your soul are not flaws, they're the places where light can finally get in. The path to healing isn't easy, but it's worth it, because one day you'll look back and realize that the pain that nearly destroyed you was the same force that awakened your strength, your empathy, and your purpose. And when that day comes, you won't just be existing, you'll be living, fully and freely, with a heart that knows what it means to rise from the ashes. There's a moment in life when you look in the mirror and realize you don't recognize the person staring back. Not because you've changed on the outside, but because somewhere along the way you've forgotten who you are. It happens quietly. You start making choices to please others. You silence your opinions to avoid conflict. You follow a path that doesn't feel right but seems safe. And little by little, the real you fade. You become what the world needs you to be. Reliable, polite, productive. But you lose touch with what you need to be fulfilled. That's when exhaustion sets in. Not the kind sleep can fix, but the kind that seeps into your spirit. The kind that whispers, "I'm tired of pretending." Psychologically, identity loss is one of the deepest causes of emotional fatigue. When a person lives out of alignment with their true self for too long, their mind begins to resist. The subconscious keeps sending signals: restlessness, boredom, sadness, anxiety, all reminders that something isn't right. But because most people are taught to suppress those feelings, they keep going, hoping things will fix themselves. Yet they don't. The longer you ignore your authentic self, the louder the emptiness becomes. It's like living in a body that no longer feels like home. Many people forget themselves because the world rewards conformity. You're praised for fitting in, for doing what's expected, for being strong. But strength isn't about hiding your truth, it's about embracing it. You don't owe the world a perfect version of yourself. You owe yourself a real one. The mind grows tired when it's forced to play a role that doesn't match the soul. That's why no amount of success, attention, or validation can fill the void inside you when you're disconnected from who you truly are. Rediscovering yourself begins when you stop running from silence. When you slow down and start listening to that quiet voice within, the one you've been ignoring for years. That voice might be faint at first, but it's still there waiting for you. It remembers who you were before the world told you who to be. It remembers your dreams, your passions, your values, and your fire. You can't rebuild your spirit until you reconnect with that inner truth. It's not about becoming someone new, it's about returning to who you've always been beneath the noise. Start asking yourself hard questions. What do I actually want? What kind of life feels true to me? Who am I when I'm not trying to impress anyone? These questions are uncomfortable because they strip away illusion. But that discomfort is necessary. It's the sign of awakening. When you start answering honestly, even if those answers scare you, you begin to rebuild your identity piece by piece. You stop following what's popular and start following what feels right. You stop forcing happiness and begin creating meaning. Reconnecting with yourself often requires solitude. Not isolation, but quiet, intentional space where you can hear your own thoughts again. Step away from the constant noise of comparison, from people who drain you, from environments that make you shrink. Spend time with yourself without distraction. Go where your soul feels light, not where your ego feels safe. In that stillness, your real self starts to surface again. And once you reconnect with that part of you, everything changes. You begin to make decisions with clarity, not fear. You start to feel peace even when life is uncertain. You begin to live instead of perform. The fatigue of existing fades when you stop living as a stranger in your own life. You are not lost. You're just buried beneath years of pretending. And when you peel back the layers of expectation and fear, you find something extraordinary. A self that is still wild, still passionate, still capable of joy. That's who you've been searching for. Not someone stronger or smarter, just someone real. So if you feel disconnected, if life feels heavy, remember, you haven't failed. You've just drifted away from your truth. And the beautiful thing about truth is that it never leaves. It waits for you. The day you choose to return to yourself is the day your life starts to feel alive again. Because the greatest journey isn't about finding a new world, it's about finding your way back home to the person you were always meant to be. There's a point in life where some people hit rock bottom. It's the place where hope feels like a distant memory and even breathing feels like an effort. You look around and see the pieces of what used to be your dreams scattered everywhere. Friendships that faded, plans that collapsed, moments that broke you down. You're surrounded by silence and you start to wonder if this is all there is. But here's what most people never understand. Rock bottom isn't the end. It's the foundation upon which something new can be built. It's the place where illusions fall away and truth finally reveals itself. Because when you've lost everything, you realize something powerful, there's nothing left to lose, and that means there's nothing left to fear. Psychologically, when a person hits their lowest point, their mind begins to shift. The fears that once controlled them, failure, rejection, judgment, suddenly don't matter anymore. You've already seen the worst, so what else can life take from you? That's when resilience is born. True strength isn't developed when life is easy. It's forged in the dark, in the moments when you're forced to face pain, uncertainty, and despair. The people who rise from their lowest points aren't superhuman. They're ordinary souls who decided that even broken, they would keep moving. Because when everything is stripped away, what remains is raw willpower, the purest form of human spirit. It's easy to mistake rock bottom for defeat, but in truth, it's a doorway, the end of one version of you and the beginning of another. The pain you feel isn't punishment, it's transformation. You're shedding the parts of yourself that can't survive in the next chapter. Every tear, every disappointment, every failure, it's shaping you, preparing you for the life that your old self couldn't handle. The darkness you're walking through isn't meant to destroy you, it's meant to teach you how to see in the dark. Because once you've been broken and rebuilt, you no longer fear the storm, you become it. The key to rising from the bottom isn't about pretending you're fine. It's about accepting where you are, feeling every emotion, and then choosing one small step at a time to move forward. It's not about leaping to happiness overnight. It's about crawling inch by inch toward light. Maybe it's deciding to get out of bed. Maybe it's having one honest conversation. Maybe it's forgiving yourself for something that's haunted you for years. Healing doesn't come all at once. It's a slow, sacred process of rebuilding your soul. But every small act of courage counts. Every breath you take in defiance of despair is proof that you're still fighting. At your lowest point, you also discover who you truly are. You learn that you can live without the approval of others, without certainty, without comfort, and still keep going. You realize that peace doesn't come from a perfect life. It comes from acceptance, from surrendering to what you cannot control and taking power over what you can. You start to rebuild, not from the outside in, but from the inside out. Your priorities shift. You begin to value authenticity over appearance, connection over validation, peace over perfection. And then something incredible happens. You begin to rise, slowly, quietly, but stronger than before. The things that once broke you no longer hold the same power. You stop fearing failure because you've already survived it. You stop fearing loneliness because you've learned to find comfort within yourself. You stop seeking meaning from the world because you've created meaning from your pain. That's what real transformation looks like, not escaping darkness, but learning to carry light within it. So if you're standing at rock bottom, understand this: you're not at the end of your story. You're at the turning point. Life stripped you down, not to punish you, but to rebuild you into something greater. You've already faced the hardest part, continuing to exist when everything hurt. That means you already have the strength to rise. The ashes you stand in now are not the remains of your failure. They're the soil where your new life will grow. And one day, you'll look back and realize that this was the moment you stopped just existing and started truly living. Because sometimes it's in the deepest darkness that the brightest version of you is born.